A routine is one of the most important things to establish. It's one of the most important technologies in dramatically improving one's life. So a routine is the structure, the bones, upon which all of the spontaneity weaves. And as a general rule, you want at least 70% routine, 70% structure. And by making this a routine, you'll free up the other 30% or so to iterate, to really think about. To go deep in the way that 10x thinking requires, you need to have time. You need to have depth and nuance. And it's hard to dream where you want to live in the world when trying to decide which granola to eat. So a routine is going to stabilize and automate a great deal. So in a daily routine, you have personal hygiene, you have your environmental care, feeding the dogs, watering the plants, you have getting dressed and grooming, you have eating and deciding what to eat, you have transportation towards wherever it is you're going to go. And usually there's some sense of, degree of income earning. But, these are some of the main things. Then there is perhaps some socializing. But what are some good things to automate and some good things to, put into your routine? I found tremendous freedom and liberation by finding a personal house manager. So this is someone that I like, who I enjoy seeing in the house frequently. And then there's a list of daily, weekly, and monthly chores that are delegated to the house manager. And generally, the house manager role is everything from laundry to getting the mail to washing the dishes to vacuuming the floor to folding the laundry. It's everything that needs to occur for the house to run smoothly. Now, one of the bonuses of a house manager is that you can go on vacation and your house doesn't fall apart. Mail still gets delivered. The dog still gets fed, things like that. Another good thing to mechanize is things that I have my virtual assistant do. Again, he has monthly and yearly and weekly chores. And then he has things that I give him on a daily basis. And any investment in teaching a virtual assistant how to do their work well is, I think, a tremendous return on investment because it might take me 3 or 4 hours to get my assistant to know how to do search engine optimization for the website and discuss and collaborate on our technique. But once we've got that down, then he can do that on his own. Mechanizing the daily report from an assistant. This is what got done. Here's how long it took. These are any questions. And this is what's on my list for tomorrow and the coming period. It's a terrific report. It can be standardized, takes a few seconds to look at, but it's also, if you've built in, some buffers, you don't need to update that every day. You can disappear for 3 or 4 days, and other, routine chores plus I have a category of non-urgent long-term projects. Research me the happiest places to live and find me good documentaries and stuff to watch about that. Well, any time in the next year is fine for that. But that's, that might be on the long-term list. And then short-term list is, we've got to respond to this or that letter. So, this is a good general, routine that frees up time. And that's a lot of what a good routine does, is it makes life more productive. You get significantly more done in a good routine than without a routine, less stressful, and frees up more time. So home management, virtual assistant. What else? Well, a good thing to put into your routine daily and or weekly are long-term iterations. So, today I'm still in the, video studio refinement process that's leading to these videos. So today we worked on, the hands seem to seem a little blurry. I can't tell if we're focusing well or not. I'll watch the video, but focus has been a little off, color has been a little off. So working on that in the studio. Well, you pick things that are going to be important long term. After 700 videos are made is not the time to work on focus. So you work on those things in the first few. And so there should be some time to iterate something that's relevant, that matters, and make it a little bit or a lot better. There's also shopping, getting food and things like that. So does that go to the house manager with a list of things to make sure that the fridge always has these things? That's a pretty good and easy way to do it. The house manager could order it online or go shopping and show up and there's always these things in the house. Anytime I open the fridge, there's at least 2 eggs, at least some asparagus, some mangoes, some strawberries, some fresh squeezed orange juice, et cetera, et cetera. So that's something that, that can be delegated. Steve Jobs was famous for delegating, for limiting his wardrobe to black turtlenecks and jeans. As a result, it became an iconic image, one, but more importantly, he never wasted a second deciding what to wear. If you have your meals planned out, that could be another thing. Your home manager could do some personal cooking, that type of thing. That could be, something to do, or you can mechanize a shopping basket or an order, an app order thing. So you just press for your normal thing. And once you've done some exploring, you can, put that into your routine. Some other good things to put into routines are, first of all, yoga is one of the better technologies for stretch-related exercises. I don't know of a better one. So it doesn't necessarily give you an aerobic workout the way jogging or wrestling or something would, but for releasing and becoming conscious of everything in your muscles, it doesn't get much better than yoga. I found a tremendous breakthrough in life, around age 14 or 15 when I discovered, I think it was Richard Hittleman's 28-day course to Hatha Yoga. I just went through and copied it, and it was a 3-day routine. Got down to 20 minutes a day, and the quality of life for the rest of the day was higher. Sleep and waking, if you put it into a routine, your body will adjust to it. And if you have a good wind-down routine and a good waking routine, you'll be energized and your body will adjust to it. Naps can be a terrific thing to put in the routine. They often need more of a routine. For some point time in my life, I had a 1 to 1:20 p.m. nap. exactly on the minute. Now, the beauty of that routine is my body knew exactly when to fall asleep and woke up 20 minutes later on the dot, feeling very refreshed. If it's, first this, then jet lag and stuff, then you can take a nap and wake up tired 3 hours later. That's the benefit of a routine. Another powerful thing to put in a routine are goals. At the peak of my goal routine, I had daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly goals. I generally found it unconstructive to try and go out longer than that because I didn't know what I would be feeling a year from now. I didn't know what I would be learning and who I would be. And so, there were certainly some things that, seemed like they might be nice, but it just seemed a little bit far out there. I have at times put 5 yearly goals, but I've not been able to bridge the connection between the day and some of those 5 yearly goals the way that I can, because when I do weekly goals, I look at the month goals and take 25% of them and often do the hardest first. Then 25% of the monthly goals are done that week, plus some things that have come up. So reviewing daily goals before going to bed, saying I did this, I didn't do this, I did this, but this came up, I didn't do this because of this, and what's my goal for the next day? Weekly goals on a Sunday. I achieved all these goals in the week. These are the things I achieved that weren't on my goals because they weren't, an issue when I've created my goals. And then these are the things I didn't do. And these are the things I decided to do instead. And what do I think about that? And what's my next goals for the coming week? As a general rule, I would say that doing daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly goals increases my productivity about things that may or may not be uncomfortable, but I think are important by 500%. That's a big deal, particularly for big things. So that's a good thing to put in a routine. Meditation, once, maybe 2, maybe 3 times a day, meaningful state changing in a way that works for you. Now, you can do guided visualization, you can guide yourself. I find that a structure works best at both flushing out resistance to the higher state, because it's very easy to get lost in the imaginal world because it's endless, just like the universe. I mean, you can just get lost anywhere. But if you have a clear intention, a ritual, and intention, then as you're going along towards that, you may meet resistance, but you know it and recognize it because you're moving towards something. When you're wandering around, you may be directed and redirected by your resistance to seeing or thinking or feeling certain things. But it's harder to be conscious that that's what's going on because you don't have anything planned in the first place. You started off in this direction, you got close to what you're resisting, so you pivoted over here, got close to what you're resisting and pivoted over here, but you did it so fluidly you didn't realize that in general, in the internal dialogue, there's always some part of you that wants what you say you want, and there's always some part of you that doesn't want what you say you want. And you don't necessarily get to meet that character, that identity, unless you're with discipline moving towards what you want. Then it comes up, but I don't want to have to do this work, and why that's not fair, and and you say, okay, so that's the one who doesn't want this to work in this way because of these and these reasons. Then you can look at making a deal with the part that does want and the part that doesn't want, and see, is there something you can learn from both sides? And certainly you can be more conscious of, if you are, instead of negotiating and bringing together, if you're going to battle, you at least know who you're battling, because it's you. It's a different age of you with a different agenda, with a different strategy for well-being. Every single part of you is fighting for its definition of well-being using the strategies and technologies that it knows to work and believes in, whether that's in whining, manipulating, lying, avoiding, working hard with great discipline, being positive. They're all strategies that some part of you thinks are a good idea, and other parts do not think they're a good idea, and they're usually all correct. Having a positive attitude when you were 2 years old and being hit by your older brother probably didn't work very well for the 2-year-old. Screaming and wailing until mom came and rescued you probably did. So you're being bullied by someone, your 2-year-old wants to scream and wail. Worked for them, seems like the right thing to do, but you may have a better option. And so you want to do this, your 2-year-old wants to scream and wail, there's a conflict. How do you just bully over the 2-year-old? Do you tell them you've got it covered, that they don't have to handle this because, you're actually a more competent parent than your parents were? So these are good parts of a routine. Now, when you're forming a routine, I find it useful to write it down and set clear times for as many things as possible, and sequence them. And this is a time when you can be iterative and spontaneous and try it and do this and that, but you're trying to come up with the right recipe. It's like, no, I'm not going to do yoga after eating breakfast. So if I'm going to do 20 minutes of yoga and then I'm going to have this for breakfast, that takes 5 minutes to prepare, or 20 minutes to prepare. Or if it's a hot breakfast, such as a grain and mixed vegetables or something, maybe I put in the hot water the rice, mix in some of the vegetables on top of the rice, find the exact setting on the stove to have that rice done in 25 minutes, and then I do my 20 minutes of yoga, followed by 5 minutes of meditation. The ding goes off, I eat breakfast, and then, this works. So if you map these things out meticulously, then you will have a higher quality recipe for your day. And that's the most delicious meal that there is, your recipe for your day. There's no more important recipe for your day, your week, your month, your year. And the routine is the core recipe. Now, within the routine, there need to be blocks of time for more fluidity. There needs to be a balance. And so the time, first of all, what to put in the fluid maps? Well, first of all, things that are most chaotic and most important. You could have a 1-hour block where, like right now in my daily routine, I have write a chapter in the 10X Living book. And so I wrote several today. But I don't know what I'm going to write. So I have a general sense of that. But I write about, usually like today, I was out walking, and my focus went to the fact that in U.S. culture, there's an overemphasis on the individual and an underemphasis on the community, relative to most cultures in human history and relative to most cultures on the planet today. And so that's my topic, And so I went home and spontaneously wrote about that. And then as I was starting to write about that, I realized there was another topic I wanted to do just before that. That all is spontaneous. But what's structured is having a couple of hours each day to write spontaneously on that subject and move that book along. So at least 70% routine. Mechanize and standardize as many things that are above average decent. You wouldn't want to standardize a crappy piece of food for your daily breakfast. But once you've picked a really good one, like I love every time I have this for breakfast, I feel good and energized for the rest of the day. I love it. Okay, I'm going to have that for breakfast 5 days a week, and then I'll do a little variation on the weekend and see what I feel like. But when I'm moving along, that's my breakfast, or this is the Monday breakfast, this is the Tuesday breakfast, this is this breakfast. And you can design some nice, mixes there. When I've been single, one of the things that I like to do is create dishes that become other dishes that become other dishes. So you make this one dish, and then there's a leftover thing that turns into this dish, and then a leftover thing that turns into that dish. But there's a logical progression, and you start with this, and you move towards this, you move towards this. And it saves time, and you don't waste food. And it keeps things interesting. So enjoy preparing the recipe for your life.